Hey, this is me building a $2 million year business in public. Last month I made 170 grand. Next month I'm not entirely sure where I want to go, but we'll play it by ear. This is the structure of these videos. We start with some Q&A, then we do some growth stats, and finally round it out with some live strategy. If you guys want your question added to the pile, then just comment down below. More than happy to answer any question posted on any daily update video. This is my main channel, so just about to hit 66K subs. Pretty stoked about that. Then if I just scroll all the way down to the bottom of my daily updates channel comments, let's see. We are currently 5 days out. Last question is from the lovely JMX097. Says, hey Nick, just joined Maker School last night. Hell yeah, super amped and deep dive and learn. What are some pro tips for developing these lead magnets for service-based businesses, lead gen automations without building out full tailored demos? This could be a need to narrow the niche further and build a more testimony as a discount for social proof. May not be necessary to convert at first, but definitely helpful in cold outreach. So what are some pro tips for developing? Okay. You're currently targeting lean sales teams working extensive 10 to 15 hour days and seeing how we can actually return time to them where it matters most. Yeah, that makes sense. And then guarantees that are market accurate and reasonable. Right now, I have promise of 5 hours a week returned in manual data entry, and I have a full contextual pitch to whoever I'm talking to prepared, i.e. saving that lean sales team on prospect qualifying. Is there a better approach to this, or do I just need more feedback loops from the market? Cheers, Nick. Love what you do. Keep killing it. Thank you. I will. So I got to be honest, not entirely 100% sure what you mean by some of this stuff. So I'm going to have to reread this. What are some pro tips for developing these lead magnets for service-based businesses, lead gen automations without building out full tailored demos? I don't entirely know what you mean with this. So if you're just talking lead magnets for service-based businesses, I do have some tips for that. The simplest way to get up and running with something like that is just Google Slides using template variables. Any major automation platform worth their salt, aka make.com, subtle make.com plug. Let me just log in here, is going to have a template feature where you can use the Google Slides module and then use this function, create a presentation from a template, and then you can replace tags. So basically you could go into a Google slide and then you could add a bunch of tags like, I don't know, title of presentation, let's say. And then when you connect it to your make scenario, which I will not do here simply because I want to make sure that I can answer a lot of people's questions, and you can do this in like 5 seconds, you will see the field, and then you can actually just template out things for those fields. So if you want to make a cool lead magnet, just like, make a lead magnet first in general and just make it templated, and then duplicate it, and then make it like customer specific by swapping out a bunch of those fields, like the title and maybe like the introductory line, or maybe the first couple of paragraphs, with stuff that AI generates that is specific to your customer. And you can get that data using Apollo. You can get that data using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You can basically get a bunch of training stuff to custom tailor and personalize this just through most social media, user-generated content platforms, UGCs. So that'd be my recommendation for you. And then, yeah, without building out full tailored demos, I mean, like you could do like a step-by-step roadmap, like what they need to do in their shoes to get to the next level. You could do like the lead magnet that I always cite is like 22 YouTube titles that guy Rock sent me. That was huge. And that was just like very illuminating, I think. And it's since inspired a lot of people to do something similar. You could do, this one guy's doing full SaaS apps. If you watch yesterday's daily update, he literally created me an entire SaaS app. And that was kind of his lead magnet. And yeah, there's a variety of things you could do, but hopefully that at least puts you on the right track. Google Slides is by far the easiest, I would say. You can literally spend 30 minutes today, right now, making a Google Slides template for something perceivably valuable, and then customizing it with these template variables, and then having it up and running. So I think that would make sense. Guarantees that are market accurate and reasonable. I don't really know what you mean by market accurate and reasonable. The whole point of the guarantee is that it's like unreasonable, right? The whole point of the guarantee is it's like, holy crap, this guy's going to give me all my money back and then buy me a Quiznos sub if he doesn't deliver me all the money he said, right? You kind of want it to be sort of silly. So the issue with 5 hours a week returned in manual data entry is, let's just be real here. How are you going to quantify that? Do you think the person like keeps a studious log of every hour that they've ever spent on everything before this? Probably not, right? Like if they were that sort of person that was that tracking-y, then they probably wouldn't need your help in the first place. They'd probably be owning $1 billion empire. Because, people that track things tend to improve things. So no, I don't really think hours a week like really makes too much sense. Now listen, I've used this as an example. I have before, and it's unfortunate that I have. You can definitely do it. Just be careful with how you quantify it. You know what I mean? Like it's very difficult to quantify unless you get the customer like agreeing with you on stuff. Like, how many hours a week would you say you're doing right now? And how many hours is a proposal taking you? Okay, great. So if I automated 10 proposals for you, that'd be like maybe 3 hours a week saved. Okay, great. Right? Like if you can get all those agreements and whatever, fine. But like, I think there are better things to do. Like, what is the simplest thing that you can guarantee? Revenue. Sorry, it's simple. That doesn't mean that it's easy, but it's the simplest thing you can guarantee, because you could literally, like, at the end of the month be like, okay, so how much extra money did that person make? $3,892. I guaranteed $3,000. Therefore, I'm in the green, right? What's another really simple thing to guarantee? Booked appointments. That's really simple. Yeah. Number of articles, if they're a content writing company like I am, that's one thing you guarantee. Number of candidates, if they're a recruitment agency, it's another thing to guarantee. Number of retailers signed up to their plan, if there's some manufacturing agency or manufacturing company looking for retailers, that's another thing you can do. But yeah, basically you just need to look for like things that are hyper specific and relevant to the niche that you are targeting, I would say. All right, Karan Hayat says, I like your new style of thumbnails. Thanks for always sharing valuable insights. Thank you. I want to learn and make money with this, but I'm confused. What should I learn? I don't know how to create automations at all. I've never done this before. Yeah, that's fine. My back's really killing me, so I'm just going to do something weird. I got to kind of kneel on my pillow here for a sec. Bear with me. I've been sitting all day. So what should you learn? My recommendation for you is, join my school if you want to learn like how to actually make money with this stuff. Most definitely. My recommendation for you is start with Make for people who want to make real money. That's right over here, okay? This is a playlist that I put together that basically shows you how to take this automation platform that a lot of people thought was intimidating and scary and basically just make it your own. It's super simple and super easy to get up and running with. This has over 60 hours of video where I literally guide you through everything from start to finish. It's a little bit rough around the edges because I recorded it over a year ago before I knew how to do these sorts of recordings. So, you have to deal with some crappy audio. You have to deal with a few things, but yeah, just walk through like the first dozen or so of these videos. And if you're still unsure of what to do after that, keep going. Otherwise, then you can consider joining my school and starting to actually put yourself in front of customers. The more you can put yourself in front of customers, typically like the faster that you'll learn. That was my chair falling. Okay, Sarcasm says, hey Nick, if you're using Google Meets for your meetings, what's the best way to record the meeting without using up a lot of storage on your SSD? I've been using OBS, but file sizes go crazy despite lower bit rates and formatting. Don't really want to use the built-in function on Google Meets. I have stuff on my PC screen I'd like for it to record as well. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. What's stuff on your PC screen? Okay, so obviously you want some sort of meeting recorder, right? I usually just recommend everybody in my community get like Fireflies or Fathom. It's just like much easier. It's like something that you invite over to the meeting. If you have stuff on your PC screen you'd like for it to record, then when you share your screen inside of the meeting, it will actually record that as well. Just letting you know. Some people don't like this because it tells the person on the other end of the line that like they're being recorded. And yeah, I get it. People do tend to act differently at the beginning of a call that I am recording, that they know that I'm recording. But I wouldn't really sweat it too much. I mean, like, I think you should just standardize that. And having some sort of recorder built into your call is now just very convenient. And then it also just, I don't want to say it ensures good behavior, but I think it just makes people think a little bit more before they talk, which is valuable. It's also really good to have on sales teams, because then the sales team can be held accountable by this recording and they don't promise a bunch of random crazy bullshit. So yeah, I would honestly just use Google Meet's built-in recorder, or I'd use a meeting invitation tool like Fireflies or Fathom. Russell Bus says, you clearly hired the right video editor. I totally get the level of excitement. Can't wait to see the new videos. Thank you. I just published one. I wanted to ask, are there any general pointers you can give on the way you should approach customizing blueprints from Maker School every time? Authentication and creating connections is easy. But are there nuanced changes that should be considered every time you're customizing a blueprint that's already been set up by somebody else? I'm a pretty quick learner with techie stuff, but for some reason this has been harder than I feel it should be. Well, I think Russ is in my community, I believe. I think what Russ is basically getting at is, hey, there are all these resources out there with free templates for make.com, and I want to leverage them as much as possible to learn faster and quicker. How do I go about doing that? Yeah, I mean, there's like a couple of rule of thumbs. Like I do go through first, and I just like do all my authorizations and connections. That's like the first low hanging fruit that I'll do. And then after, when I import a blueprint, I'll actually just click on every module in my flow, and I'll be like, hey, what does that do? 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 Once I'm done every module, now I know how it works. Now I can go in and make additions. So yeah, kind of linear, and I know it's kind of a boring answer, but literally just like when you import the blueprint, do all the connections first so you can eliminate all those dang error messages. And the second that those error messages are eliminated, just click on them one by one. Try and understand, what is the input to this function? What is the output? What's the purpose of this module? Why is this here? And can I eliminate this? After that, you should be reasonably good to start making some changes, Is coaches a good niche to sell, Nick, like content automations? What do you think? Yeah, I do think coaches are I do think coaches are pretty reasonable. Uh, I mean, like, I'm a coach, for instance. Content automations for a lot of coaches would make sense. They don't really make sense for me. You know why? Because I already know how to build all this stuff, right? So for somebody like me, no, that wouldn't really make sense. But for I think the average coach and maybe like the make money online space, not necessarily a coach that's in the like automation or AI space, yeah, it would totally make sense. And you can totally craft an offer and pitch them. I see a lot of people doing so. The benefit, obviously, when you work with a coach is they tend to have a lot of money, right? Like if they are at the point where they're a few, five figures or more on YouTube, like I am, for instance, most of the time they're making like at least 20 or 30K off what they're doing. I don't think most are as monetized as I am, but like they're usually making a fair amount of money. And if they run a coaching or a consulting program, then odds are they're making even more. So that kind of, that kind of solves that first problem, which is, does your niche have money? And yeah, I would definitely pitch them. You could pitch them that coaching, like AI coach bot. That's kind of cool. Basically, you get transcripts of all of the stuff that they've ever, all the videos that they've ever posted. Then you also get transcripts of all of the, like weekly calls that they do in their groups and stuff. Then you do all the blog posts that they've ever written. And then you also do all like the social media comments. Basically their entire like digital presence, their community answers. And then you basically just RAG-ify it all, embed it, and then add it to some database, and then just use RAG with like a chat bot. And then it'll pull from all of this stuff, and then voila, now you have like an ecosystem, basically like an AI coach. And with a little bit of prompting magic, you can actually get it to work reasonably well. It's not going to work amazingly, but a lot of people like that aren't technical are going to like love the idea of an AI coach. So that's something you could package and sell pretty reasonably quickly. You could also do like a coaching management system. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Ismail says, I like the bit at the end talking about your interests and how you view cold email. Gives perspective on what level you're at and the opportunities that go with it. Yeah, thank you. We have Jaunt Codes. This is any tips on doing cold email for an offer that you don't really have any relevant case studies for yet? Yeah, for sure. Instead of using relevant case studies for that offer, the second best is just case studies that position yourself as an authority that's made money for other people. So this is kind of like my tier list, okay? Let's use blue. It's softer and nicer. This is my tier list, okay? Ideally, when you're selling something, you would have case studies where you've delivered the exact same thing you're selling to other people and produce some sort of dollar sign result. If you don't have that, it's case studies for general business purposes, not for that specific case study, not for that specific product, but just general things that you've done that are really cool. So this is, I built a cold email lead gen system, or I made $55,832 in a month for a B2B manufacturing business with this exact same cold email outreach system. Then this is, I drove $125,000 in new sales for a B2B SaaS company in 4 weeks using automation. So now it's like, the ideal is obviously use that system. The second ideal, the next best is, you just know how to make money in general. And then the third is, instead of like case studies showing dollar signs, you have case studies, specific case studies that don't show dollar signs. So instead of dollar signs, you say, I booked 15 leads. I booked 29 appointments. I reduced the founder's time investment by 80 hours a week or something. I don't know, whatever. And then the fourth is you basically just have, I want to say like case studies for yourself. So this is where you're kind of cheeky. And then instead of being able to say you did this for another business, you say like, hey, and I built a system that booked 15 appointments for a technology company or something. And like the technology company is you. And then that last one is when you just, instead of having any case studies or any social proof or any affiliation with big companies, you just say like, I built a system that saves or generates or I don't know, drives, whatever dollar sign. Or I built the same system that my colleague used to drive 14,839, or I built the same system that people are currently using to generate $50,000 a month, or whatever. You're talking about building that system and being capable of building the system, but it's not actually your case study. You don't actually have any affiliation with it. Now, if you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, if you don't have any of these, then still do that. That's still great, and that sounds nice. But like, yeah, this is the best. This is the second best. This is the third best. This is the fourth best, and that's the fifth best. Just work your way down, I guess. Okay, Gingrich Asante says, I'm loving the new background and lighting. Thank you. I'm checking out the book The Goal that you recommended. Awesome. My question to you will be, do you think increasing the capacity of the bottleneck can also hurt your business? It seems like something that can hurt the business if done incorrectly. Also, when it comes to scoping, how long is that process for you? The reason I'm asking is it seems like the scoping process can take a day or two. Does this process happen before or after the kickoff call? And if it happens after the kickoff call, how do you know which software to get the client to sign up for? Awesome, man. Look, I'm really stoked that you're reading, I'm assuming you're a man, The Goal, because that's one of my favorite business books. If you guys haven't already thought of or considered checking it out, please do. I learned so much from that. I mean, my sales calls a lot of the time are me just like stating concepts from that book over and over and over again. Do I think that increasing the capacity of the bottleneck can also hurt your business? No, never. I mean, definitionally. Your business is your ability to, your business is basically like your throughput, it's called, okay? This is your pipeline. Like your business, by definition, okay, is how much stuff can we get through this thing? How many leads can we shove into the front of that business? And then how many like happy clients get out at the end per unit time, basically. So if you have a bottleneck, aka like a narrowing of the pipeline right over here, obviously that is going to impact your ability to do the thing, because the entire pipeline will only operate as quickly as that bottleneck, which, just based off some quick back and napkin math, this is what, like about a third, I would say, of the diameter of this pipe, right? So you're probably cutting down by 2/3. If you widen this, your business is just, it's going to do better, because you, by definition, you have excess capacity at like, the after the bottleneck and before the bottleneck. So no, not really. And I wouldn't really concern myself with theoretical questions like this, to be honest, if you just want to get up and running with making money. Basically just look, the process is, this kind of looks like a penis. The process is just you, are gonna get canceled. You find the bottleneck, and then once you've found the bottleneck, you widen it, and then you look for a new bottleneck. So I would just stick to these 3 steps, and then I would just do that over and over and over and over again. How long is the process to scope? It's usually like 20 minutes. I would say 20 minutes, 30 minutes these days, because I understand most software platforms. It doesn't happen after the kickoff call, it happens before. If you're asking that question, you probably don't understand like the stages. Basically you will like do some sort of initial touch with a prospect over here. After the initial touch, you'll book a disco call. Disco just means discovery call. It's on this discovery call that you'll ask them all these questions that I typically talk about. You'll consult with them. You'll try and figure out their needs and determine if you can have a solution. After that, what you'll do is you'll send over a proposal. In the proposal, you will scope out the project and make sure that you know all the software platforms they're going to use, or at least most of them, the steps they need to take and stuff like that. Then after they sign, then and only then do you actually kick off the project. Because the kickoff, kind of by definition, again, is like the project is beginning. So by this point, you will already have done all the scoping that you need. Okay, great. Divvy1422 says, hey, Nick, nice video. I was wondering if I could help you 10x your review. Nope, not happening. Thank you. Excuse my language, but I fucking love you for this. No one else I've watched on YouTube has ever or will ever put around this amount of raw value on a daily basis. Keep what you're doing, brother, and thanks again. Thank you. Rendell says, thanks. I agree about the autoresponder. Come to the conclusion that I'll have it send a message in Slack, and I'll approve it or edit it and click one button, then it can go out. The reason I'm doing this in the first place is I want the highest leverage, and if I'm servicing, say, 10 clients, I wouldn't exactly want to hire people to respond to emails all day. That's fair enough. I understand your point here. Randall asked a question about whether or not he should build an AI system to respond to emails for him. And I said, no, I think that's probably the most important part of your business. So don't get AI to do it just yet. Make sure that that AI is better than you if you're going to have it take over the most important part of your business. And it's not. But his solution is kind of a middle ground. It's like human in the loop. He'll have AI draft it, and then he will review it before sending. Okay, the Dental RPH says, "Hey Nick, question for you broadly. How do you deal with prospects who are requesting non-compete and conflict of interest clauses? If they're getting too much into the weeds, we still want to offer automation services to other companies or rather omit any non-compete or conflict of interest. Problem is those prospects are pretty sticky on this and I perceive they won't sign unless we include it. Thanks, Nick." Hey, we got Nick 2.0. Hell yeah, Nick. How do I deal with prospects who are requesting non-compete conflict of interest clauses? I mean, to be honest, like the simple answer is I don't really work in niches where a lot of people do request non-competes or conflict of interest. Like I usually work in like digital agency space. It's like marketing agencies, creative agencies, PPC agencies, e-commerce agencies, that sort of stuff. And to be honest, they don't really give a crap. In fact, a lot of the time, a couple of my clients, they find it like a positive that I'm working with other people. Because then they're like, well, you can just copy all the stuff you're doing for them and give it to me. I'm like, well, yeah, pretty much. If I know that it works for them, then obviously we can do it in our agency together too. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't actually had this happen too much. I did have this happen notably, I think 3 or 4 times, but one of them was notably with a recruitment agency that ended up souring the deal. He was very, very pissed that he was very, very pissed at the idea that I would work with somebody else. So I told him, I was like, hey, like I get that this is something you're concerned about. Like, do you mind just running me through what exactly is it that you're concerned about? I don't really want to limit my future autonomy by signing something like this that could contractually obligate me not to work with other people in your niche. I love working with people in your niche. In fact, that's my whole niche. So can we chat about this? And then he just got really pissed off about it. We actually ended up signing a deal of sorts. And that ended up just crashing and burning because it was just the sort of person that like is too scarce in thinking to really, I want to say work successfully with me. So yeah, how would I deal with that? I would just be upfront. I would be upfront with them like, hey, this is my niche. There's a reason I niche down in this niche. It's because I really like working with people in this niche and I'm planning on working with other people that are in this niche as well. Like, if the idea is to limit my future autonomy and ability to get work for with other people in your niche, then can we work out some sort of arrangement? Maybe they could do some sort of increased fee to offset that. Like if you think about it, they pay you extra for the opportunity costs that you are undertaking as a result of accepting that. I haven't done that myself, but somebody in one of my communities just did like a couple days ago. Could you tier it? Could you change how long the non-compete is? So these are all like non-monetary, non-negotiable, negotiables. So I would play around with those. Could you do conflict of interest in a specific geography? If you are working with dentists, for instance, specific geographies are important to them, obviously, which I get. So maybe you won't work with automation, you won't work with dental clinics in this particular location or whatever. I think as long as you're reasonable about it, man, as long as you just like kind of level with them and they're growth oriented people, it usually isn't that big of a deal. If they're small and mid-sized businesses, if it's like an enterprise that just has their legal teams, like you must have this, then yeah, it's a lot harder to do. But hopefully that answers your question. Framer with me says, love it. Your voice is crazy soothing, a broadcast style voice. And I'm going to leave it there for now. We just answered like 12 questions or something in 20 minutes. So I'm coming for you. I'm going to make it so that by the time 2 days rolls around from now, I'm at the very top of that question stack. It's going to be awesome. Okay, let's do some brand stats. We've grown quite a bit across my channels in the last little while. My main one is 6590 or 913. So that's my main channel over there. It gained 598 subs in the last 24 hours, which is big growth. My Instagram channel, I find by going to blastup.com/Instagram follower account Nick_Saraev, 72,727. And then my daily updates channel, which is the one we are all watching right now, is at 2357. Very cool. Very cool. I'm pretty stoked about this. That's some growth. Yeah. And there's one more thing on that. I think I'm making some ad revenue now, right? Yeah. Look at $82 in ad revenue in the last like week and a half. That's huge. How much money that is? Whew. Anyway. Okay. So in terms of what I'm going to do or what I'd like to do, just want to talk some high level strategy. I'm not actually going to show you guys me doing anything today, just because my back is unfortunately killing me. Let me actually just go get my chair because this is also starting to hurt. Good God. Oh, okay. I got to get back to the gym, man. Jesus. Dude, a buddy of mine sent me a photo of me the other day. I was ripped. I was freaking ripped. I've never seen myself like that. Well, I have seen myself like that, but not in a while. Holy crap, I was huge. And now, just a shadow of myself. Just hunched over, hardly sit for more than 2 hours at a time. Rough. Anyway, I think we're just getting to the end of like a big work push for me. So I'm probably going to embrace some holistic living. I got a Whoop band. I don't know if you guys could see. Big fan of the Whoop. I had one before, and then I was like, I'm going to get an Apple Watch instead. But you know what I really hate about the Apple Watch? All those damn notifications. They're crazy. There's so many. Every time that anybody does anything, I get a freaking buzz on my Apple Watch. That just like pulls me out of the work that I'm doing. I love the Whoop because it's just so low key. There's no notifications, no nothing. And it doesn't matter how many settings I put on that Apple Watch. It just still wants my attention. Whoop's not like that. Whoop's pretty great. There's even no screen. So yeah, so here's something interesting that just happened. Let me pull up my Instagram if I can. I got hit up by Ty Lopez again for what is the third or the fourth time now. Except instead of it being his team, it's actually him. So he just sent me a text. Maybe I'll talk about that today. Let me just pull this up so we could all see. I like this guy. He's cool. You know? There you go. Right over here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's Mr. Ty Lopez with 3 million followers reaching out to me, asking me on his podcast. So that's pretty sweet, huh? Maybe I should do a podcast with Ty Lopez. Listen, I'd be down to do the podcast with Ty Lopez. I like the guy. He's cool, man. Dude, he inspired like a whole generation of people. I just want to make sure that if I do it, it's kind of like worth my time. I think it's like an in-person podcast, and I don't know exactly where he is. I don't know if he's in Florida or something, but presumably if I do it, I have to fly all the way down there and stuff. And it's like, it'd be really cool to do a podcast with a guy that big and who's like that ingrained in the public sphere. Like I could say the word Ty Lopez to like basically anybody and they'd be like, oh, I feel like I recognize that name. Is that guy with the Lamborghini? You know what I mean? So even if it's not AI and automation, I could do it. But really, I guess I'm trying to wrap my mind around what the business utility of this would be. I think he has a lot of money. I'm pretty sure. Definitely has more money than me. But like, is that enough to make me want to do a podcast with somebody? Possible serendipity? Social proof? I was on Ty Lopez's podcast. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I'm probably being silly. Me flying down to Florida or wherever the hell the guy lives for like a couple of days or whatnot to like hang out with him and do a podcast is probably not that big of a deal. In light of the social proof that I'd have being able to associate myself with this guy. Yeah. I did check out the views of his podcast, and I noticed that like I don't know if they'd fallen off or they weren't very high. He published one a few months ago, and it was like 5 or 6,000 views. And you know, like I get that many views in some of my videos, and I'm at a fraction of the follower count. But I also think that he's probably niched down to like only work with like business people. So it's probably less that the views are important, and he probably drives like a lot of like monetization per view, you know? So it's weird. It's like associating with him would get me a lot more top of funnel, but then it would also get me presumably exposure to a lot of people that like take him really seriously and have money to spend and that have come up with him, you know, as he's come up. So a lot of thoughts on that, huh? Anyway, just thought I'd do some brainstorming out loud, run you guys through. Here's what I want to do. We've been publishing a lot of videos. That's been great. So all the videos are now queued up and ready to go. I got to make some Instagram profiles for my guy. Then I got to record a community exclusive for Maker School. Then I got to add 2024 to 2025 to my biography. Oh, and then I have to add job opportunities to the list of Maker School benefits. I think that's a big thing. Yeah. My churn's still, 20% or so? Yeah, we just hit almost 95,000 MRR. It's cool. But if I go to the about, right now, this is really the only benefit. It's literally just like you make a ton of money if you come here, which is great. I guess it's the main benefit. But it'd be better if we also had like a bunch of job posts here. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take this image right here. I'm going to make it like 5% smaller. Okay. Just 5% smaller. Or maybe I'll just cut it off around halfway. Yeah, I think maybe I'll do that. And then at the very top, I'll say wins. Then I'll make another one with a bunch of job posts. And then I'll say job opportunities. That's probably a good idea. Yeah. If I just go collaboration opportunities aren't ideal. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are hiring, right? A lot of people that are hiring. And there are also a lot of people that are offering work. But I mean, like some of these companies are big. That company right there, that's a 8-figure SEO agency. Some of these are way bigger than most. Paying $500, $1,000, $1,500. A lot of people get business from my community, right? So I need to list it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go back here and then do another one where people are just saying like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to help me with this. Oh, I'm looking for somebody to help me with this. And then it'll be abundantly clear that like the two main things here are you make a lot of money and then you can hire here and then you can also get jobs from here. So it's not even that I just teach you how to get jobs. Like you can actually get jobs from my platform, from my community now. All right, that seems pretty great. I'm glad that I worked through that. You know, what's interesting on like a meta level is a big chunk of my work is just like, you know, I have like some top level idea and then I just need to think about it for a little bit and let's work through it in my head. Like the second that I know what the first thing is that I need to do and what the second thing is that I need to do, what the third thing is that I need to do associated with the task, I'm much more likely to do it. So yeah, that was just some very light task prioritization here. Why don't we just go through and do that? Um, I'm just going to go option D, which is duration. This is going to take me about 15 minutes. This is probably going to take me like at least an hour, maybe more. I don't even know what the community exclusive is that I'm going to record. I want to reduce churn in Maker School, right? And when I posted my last video and I said it was just for people in Maker School, my churn went down by like 2%. So again, 2% of a big chunk is quite a bit, or maybe it was 1.5% or something. I don't know. But 2% of 90 whatever thousand, that's a lot of money back in my pocket, right? I think I made like $30,000 just doing that. So I gotta do more of these. So what's something I could do? You know, one question I've been receiving a lot about recently is camera setup. So why don't I do a community exclusive that's just for my community, running people through the simplest highest ROI camera setup? If you guys want to check that out, just go to my community. I mean, I know I talk about my setup here, but I'll actually run you through everything, like the specific products you can get at different price points. I'll do a video where I show people, you know, what it looks like and stuff like that using my iPhone. And I'll just give people like a behind the scenes essentially. And that's a good idea. So let's do full recording setup to maximize the quality, looms, and video outreach. Let's do that. That'll probably take me like an hour and a half. Then to create Instagram profiles for the guy that's helping with the stuff, that wouldn't take very long at all. Let's say 15 minutes. Okay, the rest of these are kind of like, I don't know. They're not like as clearly defined, so I'll leave these for now. But these 4 tasks I'll definitely take care of. Cool. Awesome. That's it for there. Hopefully you guys saw a little bit more about how I think through these problems, and then hopefully you guys got value out of me answering these questions. I'm just going to go for a walk because I've just been home all day and my back's killing me and stuff. So beautiful, sunny Calgary, snowy April the 2nd. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Thanks.